here's another little problem my 240D has, which is very common. Like most of these older Mercedes, the power antenna is not going all the way up and down. At least it's working. Now I want to keep the original antenna, so I'm going to see if I can fix this. And like most things, you want to do the simple things first. I came up with a little kit for cleaning and lubricating the antenna mast, and that's what I'm going to do first. But I'm going to show you what's going on here, and let's see if there's an easy fix for this problem. There, you can see the antenna has gone all the way up. Now I'll turn the radio off. All right, that's as far down as it's going to go. So when this happens, it could be the antenna itself could be bad. The mast tail could be damaged, or it could be a problem with lubrication, or even a bent mast, which is preventing this from going all the way down. I've run the mast all the way up. I'm looking for any bent or damaged sections here. This looks like it's bent a little right in here, so I'm going to just lightly, you have to be really careful when you start moving this, but I'm just going to move it a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take the steel wool that comes in the kit. I'm going to polish all the junk and minor corrosion off the mast. Okay. And I'll take the lint-free towel. Let's clean that off. So this one's not too bad. Next, I'm going to get this special lubricant out of the kit. And I'm just going to use one of these towels for the lubricant, and I can save it. That's the purpose of these extra bags in the kit, is to save the cloths so you can use them in the future. This is a very special synthetic lubricant that we mix up here in our shop. Now I found that about 50% of the time this will fix your problem. So I can't be sure yet, but I at least want to do this first before I consider pulling the mast out and take a closer look, particularly the tail. All right, let's give it another try. It went down a little bit more. Let's try it again. We'll bring it up. Usually you have to cycle it 2 or 3 times if it's not been working properly. Okay, one more try. All right. Looks like in this particular case, we're almost there, but not quite. So the next step is to pull the mast out. We're going to do that next and inspect the tail. Now, after cycling this up and down about 3 more times, this is as good as it got. So it's much better than when we started, but there's still something going on inside the antenna motor, either with the motor itself or the tail to this antenna mast that you see here. So I've thoroughly loosened this nut that holds the mast to the antenna. And with that loose, I'm going to go in the car now. I'm going to turn the key on and turn the radio on and run back and catch this when it powers out of the antenna. Okay, I'm not sure if that mast is broken off or not. I'm going to get another unit and check the length here, but we can check the mast with it out. You see, it's not sticking, so I think we're either dealing with a broken off tip of the mast here or something is going on inside the motor there. I installed this replacement mast that I had in stock as original in good condition. When I pulled the other one out, this tail was very smooth, looked very worn. I thought maybe it's just not grabbing the tail when it pulls it down in. And you saw I just cleaned it. I lubed it. Remember, lubrication, you don't need to soak it down. You want it real thin because you don't want this mast to collect dirt and dust. So you want to wipe it down after you lubricate it. And I ran it up and down a few times. And this is the best I can get out of this. So it means I'm going to have to go into the motor and do some adjustments, and I'm not going to do that now. This is good enough for my rolling restoration, and I'll put this on the list for a couple months down the road, but I have other things that are more important at this point. I mentioned earlier in this video that I was going to deal with the power antenna issue a little bit later on, but with that liner out, there was the power antenna staring me in the face, so why not pull it out and see what's going on? You know, a lot of times when the antenna mast won't go all the way down, there's a piece of tail that broke off and sits inside this piece of plastic, and that prevents the tail from running all the way down. It stops short. So a lot of times you need to take the power antenna motor out. I did not find any piece of broken tail plastic, this piece here, inside, but it was all gummed up with a thick, gooey grease. Now, this is the grease that was put in the factory, and of course, over the years, it just drags a bunch of dirt down in there. And I have a hunch that all that gum and grease that I cleaned out in here was causing the tail to bind up. Now, I don't know. We're going to find out, but I'm going to put just a very light coat of synthetic grease. This is the synthetic grease that comes in my lube kit. And we'll be using this lube kit throughout this video series to show you all the different things you should lube on a W123. So I'm going to put this lubrication, I'm going to put the synthetic grease in here, put some on the shaft. I'm going to put this back on and put this all back together and install it in the car, and hopefully that's going to fix the problem. Anytime I work on a power antenna like this, I always test it before I reinstall it. I even test it with the cover off to make sure it's working properly. So that's what we're going to do. Just make sure you line it up so when the antenna goes all the way out, it doesn't hit something inside the trunk. Okay, here it comes. Now I'll turn it off. Look at that. Pulls all the way down and it runs another half turn. That is perfect. There you have it. I'm going to reinstall that. I'm going to take the time now to polish the fender here where the opening is. Make sure I reseal this when I reinstall it into the rear fender. Another project I can check off my list. Check this out.